Hello and welcome to today's demonstration featuring the SVG files for Enchanted Oak from Two Red Robins. What we're going to do today is take it back to basics and show you how we can cut out a reflection, but from that point how we can utilise that same reflection design file to create our card bases, so unique card bases and also welding as well. What we've gone ahead and done is stuck our USB into the side of the ScanNCut machine that we're using. We are using the SDX 1200. We're going to click on Home and then Retrieve Data, followed by that little USB symbol. The USBs themselves come with both Minecraft Studio and the SVG files. We're working with the SVG files, so we click the corresponding file. And we're going to go down to find Enchanted Oak, which is the design I've chosen to use for this particular demonstration just here. As you'll be familiar with if you've used Two Red Robins USBs before, you'll have detailed cuts, matte cuts and reflection and cuts as well. When you print your reflection artwork, you'll find them in the reflection and cuts file and you'd access that on your computer. The detailed cuts, as the name would suggest, will give you both the outside and the inside lines, so great for drawing and embossing and things like that. And the matte cuts, just as you would do in die cutting, give you that little surround design that perfectly matches with your reflection cuts. For this first part of the demonstration, we'll click on the reflection and cuts. We're going to be using just this one here. The machine will have a little think about it and then it will bring up an image of the various files like so. We're going to click OK and we're going to go into Edit. We're going to choose to select everything on the mat using that little symbol there. And you'll see everything now has a red box around it. That is because each and every single one of these files is individual, which gives you so much more versatility of how you use them. But if you're cutting directly the image as is, so you haven't changed the size of it or anything like that, what you want to do is to group those files together. That allows you then to line it over the reflection image. So we're going to say OK at this point. We're going to object edit and we're going to go ahead and group. So this is the square with the circle and triangle within. Those red boxes have disappeared. It is now one file that I can drag and drop or resize if I need to, all together, all in ratio. We're going to click OK and OK. We're then going to go ahead onto our mat, make sure our reflection that we've printed out on something like our premium pure print paper is stuck nice and firmly down. So I'm using one of the rollers. You could use a scraper for this, but just make sure that that reflection artwork is firstly straight on your mat. I use the side of the mat to line it up and then it's nice and securely in place there as well. I'm going to go ahead and offer our mat up to the bumper. You'll feel it just connect and keep your mat within the channels either side of the machine opening there. And then we're going to press the mat feed button just like so and the machine will take our mat in. And this is the clever part. I love this bit. This is so exciting. This makes working with the ScanNCut super easy. We're going to click to scan exactly what is on our mat. So the machine's going to take the mat in, it's going to produce a lovely scanned image of exactly what is on the mat, which is going to allow us to line up that SVG file exactly over the top of the artwork and the reflection. So it's going to do its thing. You'll see when it comes to the image, it's a nice high colour image on the screen itself. And what we have when we move the file, you see that red box that's come around the SVG files themselves. That red box needs to align with the black box which is on the artwork. I'm going to edit and just zoom in up to 400 times. Because what we can do is make sure that red line is exactly in the right place by nudging it up and across with the little arrows to the side of the screen. We're going to click OK and OK and OK. And go ahead, please cut that out and start. Now, if you are batch making, you're cutting the same file over and over again, what I'd suggest is either pausing or deleting off that banding box because you don't want to keep cutting that same design into the mat over and over again. The machine itself, as we're working with the SDX 1200, is an auto blade. So what it's doing at the moment is just measuring the depth of the mat. It's then measuring the depth of whatever material we're using on it, and it will automatically cut those elements out. So no having to guess at the depths you need to set the braids or the pressures or anything like that. The machine will do it for you. It will also give you a timed on the screen of how long that is going to take up to the nearest minute. It's just going ahead, cutting its thing, and we'll come back to that once it has cut. So the reflections themselves are really easy to follow because what you have is obviously your artwork in that black box, as we've discussed. Along the bottom of the reflection, you'll see the collection name and also the file name, which makes it super, super easy to use. If you have used one of the other sizes that is loaded on your USB, it will have in brackets whether it's large or small or extra large, whatever the file happens to be. And it will also detail if it is a reversed reflection, because some of the files do come in a reversed option. To utilize that, all you need to do is access the little button, which is the flip tool in your object edits on your ScanNCut. It will flip the artwork to then fit a reversed reflection as well. Really, really handy, makes it super, super easy to use. The machine's just finishing cutting the final tree as it is. Obviously, if you don't want to cut them all, you can pause it. You can delete elements off the cutting files too, so you don't have to cut everything in one go if you don't want to. We're just purely showing you how you can go ahead and easily cut out this artwork if you're joining us for the very, very first time with your ScanNCut. Okay, so the machine's done its thing, it has finished cutting, and of course it has told us on the screen, the ScanNCut does hold our hand all the way through the process. So on the screen itself, it says finish cutting, we just simply say OK, hit the OK button, and then we use our mat feed button to unload the mats. Let's then have a little look at how these have cut. Gently peel away the excess cardstock like so, and of course there we have our beautiful designs all cut, even down to the fine little branches and things like that, on our beautiful Enchanted Oak. So that's all very well, but how would we then utilise that as a card base as well? Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you that too. I'm going to keep the largest size out, and we're going to press home on our screen. And it's just saying it's going to delete the patterns. That's fine. It just means they're deleting them off the workspace, not off the USB itself. So we click OK. From here, we go back into Retrieve Data and back into our little USB stick like so. Back into SVGs, and we scroll down until we find Enchanted Oak. Remember what we were saying about the different folders here? What we can do is select the mat cuts, like so, original mat cuts, and that's going to give us an outline to our little tree design. So it's little having a think about what data it's pulling up. Once it's happy with that, it will produce an image on the screen of the mat cut designs. We're going to click OK. We are going to be working with this larger tree design. So if we click on the elements we don't need to cut out, we can highlight them in red and just click the little bin symbol and OK. It will automatically then move to the next file along. Again, we don't need that one. Click and OK. We're going to go ahead and cut this one out as well. We're going to cut this from a matte layer. So I'm using our beautiful Craftmaster cardstock here, which is just a nice deep green, something to go with the design itself. So again, removing any work that we previously cut and going ahead and sticking our green 12 by 12 cardstock to our mat like so. Burnish it down into place, and I'm going to use my roller just to make sure it's nice and secure on the sticky. And making sure it's a nice even stuck, if you like, all the way across. So you haven't got any pockets where it's lifting or anything like that. You want to ensure that it's stuck evenly, because when the machine reads the depth, you don't want any little air pockets, because that will give a misleading result to the depth of the auto blade adjustment. Once again, let's just butt that up into our rollers and press the mat feed button. The mat will be taken into the machine and then just reverse back into position. And we're going to go ahead, OK, OK, please select to cut. And we're going to go ahead and start. So we're going to cut this layer out as well. It says a minute on the screen. It is just that rounds up to the nearest minute. It won't take a minute to cut that simple design out. Again, auto blade function. So we haven't changed the blade settings in between the last cut to this one, but the machine will know what setting to set its blade at to then cut this cardstock perfectly. It's read the depth of the mat, it's read the depth of the cardstock itself, and it's going and doing its thing, which I think is really easy. I mean, again, whisper quiet makes it super easy if you want to get on with something else in the background or get your other elements ready to construct this card as well. So just a reminder, this is the matte layer that this is cutting out. This is going to give us that beautiful surround to the reflection artwork we have just cut. And again, I've just simply chosen a nice deep green colour, reflecting some of the colours within that artwork itself. It's always a good rule of thumb to match in your matte layers with a colour within the artwork or in contrast to the artwork as well, depending on what kind of look you want to go for. Let's finish cutting. So we click OK and unload our mat. And now we have our matte layer as well, which will perfectly fit the reflection artwork all the way around. I just love that really elegant sort of slimline little matte layer all the way around the design itself. Now, all we need to do is create our unique card base as well. And we're actually going to use that same layer, but we're going to change it slightly. So if I drag and drop that down, we want to go back to our editing screen, drag and drop that down somewhere centrally to the mat, just so it makes it a little bit easier. What we want to do is edit this shape, object edit, and we want to create an offset line. This is going to give you a line around that matte layer, essentially like another matte layer. If you're working on a CM model, you will need to do this in Canvas Workspace. This function is on the SDX versions of the machine. So we're going to click the offset line. It's then going to give us a choice. So at the moment it's 0.06 of an inch. We can again have full control over how big of an offset line we want. Now, of course, it depends on the shape, it depends on the design and how long it takes to load those layers, but just by pressing the plus sign, it will have a little think and then it will increase that offset line for you. 0.08 is absolutely fine for what we want to be doing here, so we're going to go ahead and click OK. And when it comes back to the screen we have been working on, the item that is selected by the red box is that original shape. So that makes it really, really easy to then differentiate. That red box is the original matte layer shape. So I'm going to drag and drop that off to one side. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to get rid of that layer. We're going to click OK, and that's going to leave us this larger tree, okay? We're going to go ahead and put 3 more of those trees on our mat. So I'm going to drag it down a little bit, object edit, and say I would like 3 trees of that same size on my mat, please. And it does exactly that. 2 are going to create the card blank design, and 1, if I can fit it on, is going to create the card front as well, because when we weld them, you're going to find there's an area of overlap. So I'm going to select 2, 1 for the back of the card, 1 for the front of the card. This one, I just want to get out of the way for a minute. So let's just change the orientation of that. Let's change that through 90 degrees. Again, trying to make the most of our 12 by 12. That will cut at the bottom there. That's fine. So from here, what we want to do is select just the 2 trees at the top. To do this, we can select one of them. So the red box is around 1, and we go into selecting just part of the mat like so. We want to pull the arrows in, so they're only selecting the 2 trees. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of tree of the other one, unless it's the whole file, it won't recognize it. We're going to click OK, and now you've got the 2 boxes around those 2 trees. What you want to make sure of when you're creating a card is that the bottoms of these trees are aligned. So we can go into OK, and into our little move tool here, into our alignment tool, and this little button here, we want to align it along the base, the 2 objects along the base. It will move the elements down so they are then aligned along the bottom. We're going to click OK. And OK. And I've actually got them so they are quite nicely overlapped. We've got a nice area of the top of the tree overhanging here, and also the base as well with a little cutout in the middle. You want to make sure when we come to weld, there's enough over the edges to make that card design. We're going to go into Object Edit, and we're going to weld these 2 shapes together using this tool here. This little circle is stuck to the triangle. It will show you a preview. If you're happy, you click OK. That's the reason why we have this second shape, because what we've done here is welded the 2 together. This second shape, as it is now, will then create that line, that design over the edge of the score line. So we're going to go ahead and grab our cardstock for this part. Again, 12 by 12, because we're obviously utilising the whole of the area of the mat there. Making sure that cardstock is nice and stuck in place. With our roller, and we're going to offer that up and press our mat feed button once again. Okay, from here, click OK, and OK, and OK, And please select to cut. Once again, remember it's an auto blade, so I'm not having to change blade depth or anything like that. It will do it automatically for you. Now what's great about this technique is, yes, I'm showing you with the Enchanted Oak, but think how you might start utilising this with other shapes, with other designs. You could have, I don't know, the sewing machine stuck to the little oak there. You could have the mice playing in the foreground. By adding in files and using the matte layers, and we will touch on this after we've cut this design out, you can really start building completely unique card bases for your SVG files and your reflection cuts to sit on top of as well. So the machine's doing its thing, it's cutting out that first initial tree, which is the singular tree first. It's then going to go ahead and cut out that card blank design as well. What's lovely is this is a great way of utilising a different look to your card blanks. You're going into this wonderful kind of shaped arena, whereby instead of having like a 6x6 or an 8x8, you're creating the card blank to your tastes and to match in with the reflection and matte layers as well, which I think is a little bit of fun here too. The machine has just cut out the internal bit, you know, where we overlapped it and you've got the little room between the trees there. It's now cutting the outside as well. It's then going to give us this card base that we can add our reflections to and build onto as well. Now obviously we've done this as a side fold card. There's absolutely nothing stopping you doing this as a tent fold instead. You'd do it the same way. You'd obviously flip and reverse one of the files, have it aligned to the top, and then you'd align it centrally and weld it over the top of the tree too. So again, different options depending on how you want your card to look and how you want it to be finished too. Just coming into the end of the cutting for this one. Final little bit along the bottom. And we can go ahead and stop that. So finish cutting, okay. Matte feed button. And we've got our little tree. Like so, and also our card blank as well. Just getting rid of the little excess bit there. And you can use a scoreboard for this part if you want to, but just aligning that so the edge of the tree matches, giving you card blank design. You'll see why we needed that second cut like so, because you've got that score along one side. We would then stick your element of your tree over the top. Your matte layer then sits within. Remember, because we used that offset line, we created that just a little around, the little area around the tree itself. And then coming in with that reflection artwork as well. So that's just utilising the tree. I did say we would touch on how you could use this with other elements as well. So if we go back to our edit screen, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of those little trees there because we don't need them for now. If it's something you're going to be cutting a lot, save it to your machine's memory. That's then your file to use. But I'm just going to bin that one for now. And here, let's move that tree back into upright position like so, and okay. And just as an example, let's click OK and then add to this tree. So we go back into retrieve data and back into our USB, SVGs, and let's just choose maybe, I don't know, the sewing machine, so ready. If we go into matte cuts and original matte cuts, we've got the different sewing machines there. They will always load to that top corner, so just be mindful of that when you're placing things on your mat. Let's bin off those little ones because we don't need them for this demonstration. And bin and OK. Now remember, when we created this design, this is actually the white bit of the design. We would need to increase this by 0.08 of an inch again, just to match in. But for argument's sake, let's say it's already been done. Select all, select everything on your mat and OK. We want to then move and align these shapes that are aligned along the bottom. The little tree just moved down there. So all the bottommost points are now aligned, making sure our card will stand. We can click OK. And OK, object edit and weld. And again, this is now getting into the realms of creating totally bespoke card bases. Now we have the tree with the sewing machine stuck to it as well. You'd then go on to add your offset lines if you wanted to, cut your reflections and really utilise your designs to make your own bespoke card bases using the SVG files and the weld function as well. So that's how we finish our little card design, creating really exciting, bespoke and unique card bases to match in with our SVG files and our reflection artwork as well. And of course, that's opening a door to creating all types of card bases utilising your SVG files there, creating that offset line to create your card base and then adding your reflections to the top. Thank you for joining me for today's demonstration. I look forward to seeing what you might create with the Enchanted Oak SVG files. Until next time, stay safe and I shall see you very soon.
If you would like to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to receive notifications on all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video or click here to see more videos like this one.